Welcome to the world of WWE. Before you watch, please like and subscribe and press the notification button. Thanks for liking and subscribing. Now watch till the end. World Wrestling Entertainment Incorporated, commonly shortened to its trade name WWE, is an American integrated media and entertainment company that is primarily known for professional wrestling. WWE has also branched out into other fields, including film, American football, and various other business ventures. The WWE name also refers to the professional wrestling promotion itself, which was founded in 1953 as the Capitol Wrestling Corporation. It is the largest wrestling promotion in the world, with the roster divided up into two primary traveling brands and a secondary developmental brand. Overall, WWE is available to 900 million homes worldwide in 28 languages. The company's global headquarters is located in Stamford, Connecticut 8, with offices in New York, Los Angeles, Mexico City, Mumbai, Shanghai, Singapore, Dubai, and Munich. History of WWE. WWE's origins can be traced back as far as the 1950s, when on January 7, 1953, the first show under the Capitol Wrestling Corporation (CWC) was produced. There is uncertainty as to who the founder of the CWC was. Some sources state that it was Vincent J. McMahon, while other sources cite McMahon's father Jess McMahon as founder of CWC. The CWC later joined the National Wrestling Alliance (NWA), and famous New York promoter Toots Mondt soon joined the CWC. Vincent J. McMahon and Toots Mondt were very successful and soon controlled approximately 70% of the NWA's booking, largely due to their dominance in the heavily populated northeastern United States. In 1963, McMahon and Mondt had a dispute with the NWA over Nature Boy Buddy Rogers being booked to hold the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. Mondt and McMahon were not only promoters but also acted as his manager and were accused by other NWA promoters of withholding Rogers making defenses in their cities versus only defending in Mondt and McMahon's own cities, thus maintaining a monopoly on the world title. In a now infamous situation, the NWA sent former five-time world champion and legitimate wrestler Lou Thesz to Toronto to face Rogers on January 24, 1963. Thesz recalls this was not planned and prior to the match remembered telling Buddy, "We can do this the easy way or the hard way." Rogers agreed to lose the fall and title in a one-fall match versus the traditional 2 out of 3 fall matchup that most world title matches were defended. Once word reached back to Mondt and McMahon, at first they simply ignored the title change. From January until April 1963, Rogers was promoted as the NWA World Champion, or simply the World Heavyweight Champion, in their area. The Worldwide Wrestling Federation, WWF, was not an immediate creation as once thought the day after Rogers' one-fall loss to Thesz. Mondt and McMahon both eventually left the NWA in protest and formed the WWF in the process. They brought along with them Willie Gilzenberg, longtime boxing and wrestling promoter in New Jersey. In June 1963, Gilzenberg was named the first president of the WWF, marking the traditionally beginning of their history, with Rogers winning a fictitious tournament in Rio de Janeiro on April 25, 1963, when he defeated longtime Capital Sports favorite Antonino Rocca. In reality, Rocca was no longer in the area, as he was working for Jim Crockett Sr. in the Carolinas. Rogers also had already suffered what would later be a career-ending heart attack on April 18 in Akron, Ohio, and was in an Ohio hospital during the time the alleged tournament took place. 19 Mondt left Capitol in the late 1960s, and although the WWF had withdrawn from the NWA, Vince McMahon Sr. quietly rejoined in 1971. The WWF was renamed to the World Wrestling Federation, WWF, in 1979. As in other professional wrestling promotions, WWE shows are not legitimate contests, but entertainment-based performance theater, featuring storyline-driven, scripted, and partially choreographed matches. However, matches often include moves that can put performers at risk of injury, even death, if not performed correctly. The predetermined aspect of professional wrestling was publicly acknowledged by WWE's owner Vince McMahon in 1989 in order to avoid taxes from athletic commissions. WWE brands its product as sports entertainment, acknowledging wrestling's roots in competitive sport and dramatic. Titan Sports Incorporated, 1980-1999. Early years, 1980-1982. Vincent J. McMahon's son, Vincent K. McMahon, and his wife Linda, established Titan Sports Incorporated in 1980 in South Yarmouth, Massachusetts, and applied trademarks for the initials WWF. The company was incorporated on February 21, 1980, in the Cape Cod Coliseum offices, then moved to the building on Holly Hill Lane in Greenwich, Connecticut. The younger McMahon bought capital from his father in 1982, effectively seizing control of the company. The actual date of sale is still unknown, but the generally accepted date is June 6, 1982. However, this was likely the date the deal was struck. On WWF television, Capital Wrestling Corporation maintained copyrights and ownership past the June 1982 date. The World Wrestling Federation was not solely owned by Vince Sr., but also by Gorilla Monsoon, Arnold Skaaland and Phil Zacco. The deal between the two McMahons was a monthly payment basis where, if a single payment was missed, ownership would revert to McMahon Sr. and his business partners. Looking to seal the deal quickly, McMahon Jr. took several loans and deals with other promoters and the business partners, including the promise of a job for life, in order to take full ownership by May or June 1983 for an estimated total of roughly $1 million, with the three business partners receiving roughly $815,000 among them, and Vincent J. McMahon receiving roughly $185,000. Seeking to make the WWF the premier wrestling promotion in the country, and eventually, the world, he began an expansion process that fundamentally changed the wrestling business. At the annual meeting of the NWA in 1983, the McMahons and former Capital employee Jim Barnett all withdrew from the organization. McMahon also worked to get WWF programming on syndicated television all across the United States. This angered other promoters and disrupted the well-established boundaries of the different wrestling promotions, eventually ending the territory system, which was in use since the founding of the NWA in the 1940s. In addition, the company used income generated by advertising, television deals, and tape sales to secure talent from rival promoters, to which McMahon discussed in an interview with Sports Illustrated. McMahon was quoted as saying, "In the old days, there were wrestling fiefdoms all over the country, each with its own little lord in charge. Each little lord respected the rights of his neighboring little lord. No takeovers or raids were allowed. There were maybe 30 of these tiny kingdoms in the US, and if I hadn't bought out my dad, there would still be 30 of them, fragmented and struggling. I, of course, had no allegiance to those little lords." McMahon gained significant traction when he hired American Wrestling Association (AWA) talent Hulk Hogan, who had achieved popularity outside of wrestling, notably for his appearance in the film Rocky III. McMahon signed Roddy Piper as Hogan's rival, and then shortly afterward Jesse Ventura as an announcer. Other wrestlers joined the roster, such as Jimmy Snuka, Don Muraco, The Iron Sheik, Nikolai Volkov, Junkyard Dog, Paul Orndorff, Greg Valentine, and Ricky Steamboat. Many of the wrestlers who would later join the WWF were former AWA or NWA talent. The WWF would tour nationally in a venture that would require a huge capital investment, one that placed the WWF on the verge of financial collapse. The future of McMahon's experiment came down to the success or failure of McMahon's groundbreaking concept, WrestleMania. WrestleMania was a major success and was, and still is, marketed as the Super Bowl of professional wrestling. The concept of a wrestling supercard was nothing new in North America. The NWA had begun running Starrcade a few years prior. In McMahon's eyes, however, what separated WrestleMania from other supercards was that it was intended to be accessible to those who did not watch wrestling. He invited celebrities such as Mr. T, Muhammad Ali, and Cyndi Lauper to participate in the event, as well as securing a deal with MTV to provide coverage. The event and hype surrounding it led to the term rock and wrestling connection, due to the cross-promotion of popular culture and professional wrestling. The WWF business expanded significantly on the shoulders of McMahon and his babyface hero Hulk Hogan for the next several years. The introduction of Saturday Night's Main Event on NBC in 1985 marked the first time that professional wrestling had been broadcast on network television since the 1950s, when the now-defunct Dumont Television Network broadcast matches of Vince McMahon Sr.'s Capital Wrestling Corporation. The 1980s wrestling boom peaked with the WrestleMania III pay-per-view at the Pontiac Silverdome in 1987, which set an attendance record of 93,173, a record that stood for 29 years until WrestleMania 30. World Wrestling Entertainment Incorporated, 2002 present. In May 2002, the World Wrestling Federation announced it was changing both its company name and the name of its wrestling promotion to World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE, after the company lost a lawsuit initiated by the World Wildlife Fund over the WWF trademark. 44, although mainly caused by an unfavorable ruling in its dispute with the World Wildlife Fund regarding the WWF initialism, the company noted it provided an opportunity to emphasize its focus on entertainment. 45 First brand split, 2002-2011. Main articles: WWE brand extension and WWE draft. In March 2002, WWE decided to create two separate rosters, with each group of wrestlers appearing on one of their main programs, Raw and SmackDown, due to the overabundance of talent left over from the Invasion storyline. This was dubbed as the brand extension. Beginning in 2002, a draft lottery was held nearly every year to set the rosters, with the first draft to determine the inaugural split rosters and subsequent drafts designed to refresh the rosters of each show. WWE expanded the brand extension by relaunching ECW as a third brand on May 26, 2006. 46 2 years later, WWE adapted a more family-friendly format, and their programming received a TV PG rating. 47 The final ECW program aired on February 16, 2010, after which it was replaced with NXT. 48. On April 7, 2011, WWE, via the WWE corporate website, announced that the company was ceasing use of the full name World Wrestling Entertainment and would henceforth refer to itself solely as WWE, making the latter an orphan initialism. This was said to reflect WWE's global entertainment expansion away from the ring, with the ultimate goal of acquiring entertainment companies and putting a focus on television, live events, and film production. WWE noted that their new company model was put into effect with the relaunch of Tough Enough, being a non-scripted program, contrary to the scripted nature of professional wrestling, and with the launch of the WWE Network, at the time scheduled to launch in 2012, later pushed back to 2014. However, the legal name of the company remains as World Wrestling Entertainment, Inc. 10. Brand reunification, 2011-2016. Beginning with the August 29, 2011 episode of Raw, it was announced that Raw would feature talent from both Raw and SmackDown and would be known as Raw Super Show. The Super Show suffix would be dropped on July 23, 2012. 49 championships previously exclusive to one show or the other were available for wrestlers from any show to compete for. The Super Show format would mark the end of the brand extension, as all programming and live events from when the original announcement was made until July 2016 featured the full WWE roster. 50 In 2013, the company built the sports medicine and training facility WWE Performance Center in the East Orange County, Florida, in partnership with Full Sail University from Winter Park, Florida. The training facility is targeted at career and athletic development for the company's wrestlers. 51 Full Sail is also home base to WWE's NXT brand 52, which served as a developmental territory for WWE. Second brand split, 2016 present. On May 25, 2016, WWE announced a relaunch of the brand extension, billed as the New Era. Following that announcement, Raw and SmackDown now each feature their unique rosters, announcers, ring sets, ropes, and championships. A draft took place to determine which wrestlers would appear on what show. SmackDown also moved from Thursdays to Tuesday nights, which began on July 19, the night of the aforementioned draft, and airs live instead of the previous pre-recorded format. 54 On November 29, 2016, WWE introduced a new program specifically for their cruiserweight division, wrestlers 205 pounds and under, called WWE 205 Live. 55 The program focuses exclusively on those wrestlers who qualify for the division. 56-57 The cruiserweights, who first became a fixture in WWE with the Cruiserweight Classic tournament, were originally exclusive to the Raw brand at the onset of the 2016 brand extension, before landing their own brand. On December 15, 2016, it was announced that WWE was establishing a new WWE United Kingdom Championship, with the winner being decided by a 16-man tournament to air on WWE Network, featuring wrestlers from the UK and Ireland during January 2017. WWE executive Paul "Triple H" Levesque said the eventual plan with the new title and tournament was to establish a UK-based brand with its own weekly television show. 5960 WWE subsequently launched its UK-based brand as an offshoot of NXT UK, in June 2018, with Johnny Saint serving as inaugural general manager. 61 Starting in September 2019, NXT had a weekly, live, 2-hour show Wednesday nights on the USA Network, and WWE began promoting NXT as their third brand. 62-63 NXT was moved to a Tuesday night time slot in 2021 and was rebooted as NXT 2.0 later that year, reinstituting its original function as a developmental territory. 64. Thanks for watching the video. Stay tuned for next updates. Stay tuned for my next video, of which the next is going to be the best shows of WWE. Once more, thanks for watching.